Here's the Spurs News Roundup by all the latest Tottenham news, all in one place in the last 24 hours. Let's get straight into it then. So, Tottenham conceded 9 goals in 3 seasons at the Amex. Tottenham had 4 of their loanees score on Saturday for their respective clubs. Luka Vuskovic for Hamburg scored a single goal. Alfie Devine another goal, this time for Preston. Tyrese Hall got a brace, so 2 goals for Notts County, and George Abbott scored also for Wickham. Spurs come from 2 goals down to take a point at the Amex. It ended 2-2. Minter for Brighton opened the score in the 8th minute. The Seagulls doubled their lead in the 31st minute through Ouare, and for Tottenham, Richarlison scored 43rd minute just before the break, and Van Hecke own goal in the 82nd minute. Next, no Randall Moani in that Tottenham squad. Moani missed out on the Premier League fixture due to a dead leg. There are 3 changes from the Villarreal game for the Brighton game, as Udogie, Alderweireld and Paulinho come in for Spence, Simmons and Sarr. Team talk say that Liverpool's Konate is Real Madrid's top centre-back target for 2026. They also heard an interest in Tottenham's Mickey van der Ven. The Spurs under-18s lost 4-2 away to Southampton on Saturday. Elliott, Paris and Musquila scored Tottenham's goals. Samuel Barger was sent off. Coach Joe Staunton said, "We got ourselves into a favourable position when we were 2-1 up. Finding a bit of rhythm and control and producing a couple of half chances with good moments, been an individual moment has ultimately cost us the result and made it difficult for us to find a way back to hold on to the lead." Spurs B, Iro, Thomas Ukafora 62nd minute, Bry Bakakora 46th minute, Tikitu Upson, Monka Baitora, Feenley was the captain, Boast 62 minutes, Elliott Paris, Musquila, Glancy played 88 and Atwag. So substitutes not used was D. Thompson only. Match week 5 is over for Tottenham Spurs, or for every club. Spurs are in 3rd, 10 points from a possible 15. Tottenham face Wolves next Saturday evening, who have lost all 5 matches in the Premier League so far this season. No player has made more tackles in a Premier League game this season than the Alpalinia versus Brighton, who got 7. Ange Postecoglou, new Nottingham Forest former Tottenham manager, says he's been surrounded by negativity since arriving in the Premier League. Postecoglou said, "I have no idea why. I'm likeable. There's been a negativity around my arrival since I come to the Premier League, but it's a curious study in human nature to why that's the case. I come from Scotland, and I get there's not a great deal of respect given to the game up there, but my first year at Tottenham I went to a club that finished 8th. They lost their greatest ever player in Harry Kane, and I got 5th. Playing my style of football, it would have got them into the Champions League any other year, but unfortunately that first year I had somehow doesn't exist. All that shows was that I finished a poor season last year and that my football doesn't work." Destiny Doggy spoke about Tottenham's 2-2 draw at Brighton, saying, "I think we were a bit unlucky with the result, but at the same time we take a good point away, so we have to look at the positives and keep building. To be 2-0 down in an away game against a good team is never easy, so a good point today, and we showed a good character. From the first minute we had a good start. We conceded 2 maybe poor goals and the game turned away from us. We showed a good character to come back." Frank spoke about Tottenham's 2-2 draw with Brighton. Frank said, "The headline is mentality. I said to the players, a game like this is pure mentality. Of course, we need all the tactical structure details, all the to really achieve something. You need to go so strong here when you go away on the back to a Champions League game that demands everything from you. Then we really decided to test ourselves by going 2-0 down. But the way we started the game, wow, coming away from home against Brighton, a good team, we completely dominated them. And then out of nowhere, boom, they scored a goal. We keep going, and then out of nowhere, they score a second one. But the way we kept going and more or less controlled the game from start to end, getting the 2 goals, I think is very impressive. So the mentality and physicality of the team look strong, intense. This is us." Thomas Frank has provided a further update on Rando, Colin and Ben Davies, who both missed out, saying that Colin firstly got a dead leg, unfortunately. That kept him out of the Brighton game. He was actually struggling the last week. Hopefully he'll be available for Wednesday. Ben got a slight twist in the knee. It shouldn't be anything serious. Hopefully he'll be available for Wednesday. Xavi Simons posted on social media saying proud of the team spirit. Lucas Bergvall posted on social media saying not the result we wanted, but we fought until the end. Thank you for the great support. Yao Polinia posted on social media to say really good reaction and fighting today. Thank you for the support. Destiny Doggy posted on social media saying strong character shown from the team. Full focus on next week. All glory to God. Pedro Porro took social media to say showed fight this afternoon, a point we take and move forward with thanks for the top away support today, Spurs fans. And lastly, club captain Christian Romero posted on social media saying buzzing with the fight the team showed today. We always want more, always pushing. Big love to the fans for the way support. We go again, always together. That's the last of the players' social media messages. Thomas Frank was asked on does he like a game like that, which ended Brighton 2, Tottenham 2. Frank said, I think you always want to control it if you can, but I like how aggressive we were and there were some really good opportunities going forward and I like that we looked very dangerous. That I liked a lot, I must admit. Frank was asked on whether he'd been waiting for Destiny Doggy to get up to speed. Frank said, yeah, but I must admit, I've got 3 extremely good fullbacks. I think Jed has been fantastic for us. So when another player is doing so well, then there's no reason to throw Destiny in too early. And I'm pretty sure we all need, all throughout the season, we need them all. That is crucial. We all play in hopefully around 60 games this season. That is a lot. I think Liverpool changed both their fullbacks from midweek to today. So it's a big thing. We want fullbacks that come bombarding up and down. So we need everyone, but I'm happy with Destiny. Thomas Frank spoke about Colin Warney and whether he expects him to miss just one game. He speaks even more, saying hopefully it was just a dead leg. He's actually been struggling with it for 4 or 5 days. He's not settling as we'd originally hoped, so hopefully Wednesday. Thomas Frank was asked about Wilson Odobez's first start of the season against Brighton, in which he played around 70 minutes in. Frank said, happy with it, I must admit. I thought we looked lively. Clearly, it looked like they were a little bit afraid of him. So he got time to turn and run forward. I think he produced some crosses, some good opportunities. He's also involved in a goal and worked hard. So a good first start. Thomas Frank spoke about Xavi Simons playing in the number 10 role and if it's more of a natural position for the new signing. Frank said, I think he can play both. I think he can easily play the left winger. That can go more inside. I also think he'd have the right position too. Sometimes the playmakers, they drift to the side because there's no space in the middle. So I think he can do that. But 10, obviously, he can play that as well. Thomas Frank was asked on what Spurs can achieve when Rando, Colin Warney and Dominic Solanke are back and Tottenham have that extra attacking options and output. Frank said, that's a good question, I don't know. Right now, I think it's about the consistency. We played 5 Premier League games. I think we had 4 good performances and 1 bad. So we can stick with, I don't want that bad. I think it was a bad performance. So can we get all to the bad performances out and consistently produce good performances? Then one day where whatever there's a mistake and you need to come back, you still get a point, or maybe you can turn it around and win 2-1 or win 3-2. Thomas Frank on why the 2-2 draw against Brighton is the most complete performance, because Frank described it as the most complete performance in his words. Frank said, I know we conceded 2 goals and it's never that black and white. So one where I say I should take it. The second one is okay, we conceded a goal, that can happen. It's just Premier League, it's good. But besides that, I thought we defended well. Overall, I think the high pressure was very aggressive. We were winning the ball back more or less all the time, which we like us to do. I think in phase 1 we got out every time more or less. We controlled it up there. We created so many good opportunities and had to counter press and rest defending crosses. So there was a lot of bits that we like to do because of that. And then on top of that, the mentality to come back from 2-0 down is so important. Frank was asked whether he think he can get another 10, 20 or 30% improvement out of some of his players. Frank said, hopefully, we try to put in a good structure in place, offensively and defensively, clear principles, keep reinforcing the right messages. For example, today we put so many crosses in. That's a big part of what we want to do. There could be a little bit more quality. We could also have a little bit more runs, and then we keep coaching them, run in the right gaps. I think if Richie had run in the right gaps, he'd have scored maybe 2 goals more today, for example. I believe any player that can keep developing, and that's a big part of what I believe in and my coaching staff believe in as well. Thomas Frank was asked if Brighton's second goal will mean that Vicario will be kicking himself. Frank said, I think it's never as simple as it looks. I think that's a big thing. I think it was a great strike, but he'll be kicking himself. He wants to save that one. Thomas Frank was asked about Mohamed Kudus and what he's been most impressed by him. Frank said, I think 2 things. One is his work ethic. He's been really good. It's big for me, how hard he works in the counter press, high pressure, defensive side of it. But his hold-up play, when it goes to him, it just sticks. You can't get it off him. So he just keeps it, doesn't lose a 50-50 ball. And that's the third thing. His one-on-one ability is crazy. He's so strong. He's so explosive. He just dominated the right-hand side. Thomas Frank was asked about the resilience in the team. Frank said, I'm very, very pleased with it. I think there was also a situation in the first half, the way we sprinted back on our recovery runs. That's goosebumps, that's bread and butter. But you want to be a resilient team because we play against good teams and it'll be difficult sometimes. But it's a good group of players. They want to perform. They're disappointed after the game. Even when we come back, they wanted to win, of course. I also think that overall the performance played in, I think it was maybe our most complete performance so far in the season. I know you can say that we conceded 2 goals, but I think actually there were so many positives overall in the game. Also the high pressures, the man-to-man's very aggressive, but as you say, the resilience in the group, that mentality is so good. Frank on Xavi Simons said, I'm very, very pleased with that. I think Xavi came in and did exactly what I thought he could do in that 10 position. Of course, he had a good pre-season and he played 2 games in Germany and all of that, but he's coming into a team, all that. I think that any other day he'd score a goal. He got a great finish on the first one, great save from Verbruggen, and the second one he missed times, and I think maybe he could have got an assist to Richie, where Lucas takes the ball. He doesn't see him. Frank was asked about Udogie's performance against Brighton, said exceptional. He was exceptional today. He was unstoppable, almost going forward. And I think it was also a bit unfortunate. It was Wilson who had to track him on the situation because it was a little bit of a high pressure situation. The Brighton wonder goal, but he just completely took him out going forward. Very good, just top. Thomas Frank was asked about Tottenham's performance against Brighton, the character shown from the team to come back. He said, yeah, very happy with that. Spoke about mentality going into the game to the players, that you go down to a good team against a good Brighton side away from home on the back of our first Champions League game. It's all about mentality. Of course, you need structure and tactics and game plan and all that. We like to praise ourselves as coaches, but at the end of the day, it's mentality to stay in there when it's tough. And I love the way we just started the game away from home, just boom on top of it. I don't think Brighton were over the halfway line in the first whatever. I can't remember when they scored, 10, 12 minutes or whatever it was. Then they scored a goal where praise to Brighton. We can do better, and it's a light offside. We keep keep going at it, and then great goal, but Vic can do better. Very happy with him, spoke to him, so I think he had a great season for us, and it happens. We keep going, we stay in the game, stick to the game plan, and I thought we looked physically strong. I thought the players looked strong and were intense throughout the game, even though we had a midweek game, which I'm very happy with the physical preparation during pre-season and everything the team has done, with big help from the performance staff at Tottenham. So the mentality, the physical aspect, I thought was key, and coming here where last year we come here 2-0 down, lost 3-2, now we're 2-0 down and come back to make it 2-2, I think is good. I think also it could have been a winner in my eyes, and maybe slightly biased. I think it should have been us. I think the amount of crosses, the amount of touches in the opposition box, the amount of nearby chances was more than enough to win the game. No players made more tackles in the Premier League this season than João Palhinha with 19, 30 of them come in the last 2 games, 6 versus West Ham and 7 versus Brighton. 13 years ago today, Hugo Lloris, Tottenham's new signing at the time from Lyon, made his debut. It came in a 0-0 draw with Lazio in the Europa League. His first clean sheet of 21 in Europe. His 447 appearances placed him 8th on an all-time list. Lloris captains us 286 times in the league. Those are your Tottenham headlines. Get involved in the comments below with your thoughts. I'm just going to be sticking to giving the news instead of the analysis, because there's a lot of news to cover at the moment. But anything you think is worthy of discussion, you want to talk about, do in the comments below, and I always read and I'll always reply to you. But a lot of headlines there, a lot to get your teeth into. But you're now up to date. Thank you very much for watching. This is your daily Spurs News Roundup. That's why we do it. Thank you very much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day. Like, subscribe if you're new, and come on, you Spurs.